The race for the 2023 general election is on as Nigeria's main opposition parties already putting strategies in place in its bid to unseat the governing All Progressives Congress, the APC. A zoning committee set up by the PDP National Executive Committee, chaired by the governor of Enugu State, Ifeanyi, to look into the zoning of national offices has been meeting over the matter. Party members say the outcome of the zoning committee will determine what part of the country the PDP presidential ticket will swing. But Governor Ugwuanyi clarifies that the committee has no mandate to zone political offices, especially where the presidential and vice presidential candidates would emerge from. He says the committee is strictly limited to the PDP National Working Committee offices to be contested at the 2021 PDP National Convention, scheduled for next month. Members are now keen to find out how the party will resolve the issues, especially the leadership crisis that has seen some PDP members urging incumbent national chairman Uche Secondus to resign.
We had a fruitful meeting and we are adjourned to conclude next week. Thank you all. We had a fruitful meeting.
Joining me to look at these issues is Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Deron Odeyemi, who's joining us from Osun State virtually. And in the studio, I have with me Emmanuel Ume, who is a good governance advocate and political strategist. You're all welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, and I would like to just start with you immediately, Deron, if you can hear us.
I can hear you loud and clear.
What's your general overview of that conclusion, which a lot of people have described as inconclusive by Governor Ugwuanyi's committee meeting? You could hear him saying that they had adjourned till next week, but a lot of party members are unsettled by that adjournment, considering how late it is between now and end of October when we should be having the PDP National Convention coming full swing.
Thank you very much for the question. It is not out of place for party members to be anxious. They really want to know what's going to be the outcome of the meeting. And at the same time, the committee consists of eminent personalities, people who are experienced, people who want the party to succeed in 2023, and they don't have to rush the assignment. They have time to do a lot of consultation, to meet among themselves, dialogue, and for the mere fact that they met one day, it does not mean they should conclude immediately. So what they are doing right now is just to have a research, communicate, and speak with leaders the more, so that at the end of the day, whatever is going to be the outcome of their decision will be acceptable and applauded by the party members. So it's just a break, which we are all happy that is happening because it gives room for dialogue and for consultation.
Thank you so much. And I'll come back to you, Ume, here. I mean, there have been lots of anxiety in the PDP over this zoning matter. Why is it so important to members to actually know what areas this zoning will go to? And then why is it that we're also having agitation that the previous zoning in 2017 should be maintained? The national chairmanship should go south, while the presidential ticket should actually go north?
For me, I think one of the reasons why there's this agitation or so much clamor on the PDP right now is if you look at what has happened in the last 6 years with the APC, it's shown that they failed to deliver on their promises, and Nigerians are relying or hoping that the PDP will put their acts together and then get themselves together and then perform the work of an opposition, and at the same time, clinch government in 2023. So it's understandable that you see this kind of, reactions from Nigeria, especially. There's so much interest in the PDP, especially in zoning. So it's understandable that these things will happen. As to where it should go, whether the chairmanship to go to the south or to the north, I think in the wisdom of many of the party, faithfuls that I have spoken with, they believe that if the chairmanship goes down south, especially say southwest, it brings a lot of inclusivity with, the southwest back to the national politics, especially within the party. So is understandable. But the whole issue right now is, if he goes down south, is it an automatic, disqualification for people within the southern region to contest for the presidency? I think that, in the coming days or in the coming weeks.
But what do party members like you actually want for the party?
For me, honestly speaking, I'm from the southern region, right? So automatically my bias would definitely want to go towards the south. But
in the chairmanship or in the presidential ticket?
No, the chairmanship. But if you look at, if you're going to juxtapose what has happened in the last 16 years, when the PDP was in power, you see that the North has only had power in the PDP 3 years, and then the South has had power for 13 years. So there's this whole call of equity and fairness that you've only had power within this party for just 3 years. Now, another, dynamics would be that you just had an 8-year, or we're going to have an 8 years, northern, president that is currently in power. So will it be fair to have another northerner become president? I think if you look at it both ways, the arguments are genuine and it's logical. But I feel Nigerians should just give the committee time to just do their work. I believe, like he said, there are eminent men and women in that committee. In the coming days, we'll definitely get to know where the zone is going.
Okay, we'll just have to go to Mr. Duron now. If you can hear me, Mr. Duron, we have had this preponderance of a lot of chairmanship candidates actually coming from the southwest of the country. And a lot of people are beginning to say that this looks like the PDP leaders trying to compensate the southwest for never having had the opportunity to run the party since 1999. But also considering that there's a talk about a southern presidency, would you want to welcome that decision for the South to still get this chairmanship slot in the face of agitations for a Southern presidency in 2023?
Your question is hypothetical. It is like if and when. I would rather want to leave the committee with the decision to come out with their resolution and decision before we can start politicking, because we can start conjectures, because we can start other plans. Now, the argument that if the presidency comes to if the chairmanship comes to the South as compensation for the Southwest does not arise simply because the committee has not come up with a decision. I would rather want us to wait as a party man and somebody who is enlightened, somebody who wants the best for the party. After all, there are 44 eminent personalities, former governors, former senators, present senators, members of BOT. They were quite carefully chosen and selected to represent each interest group within the party. So let us wait and allow them to do their job. Until they come up with their decision, we will not be able to say whether the presidency is going to the South or the chairmanship is going to the North. Everything we are going to say here today perhaps may not have meaning, or we will be preempting the committee if we start conjuring or trying to say this or that. So let us leave it at that. We are waiting on the committee to submit their report.
Yes, but while we'll await that, the governors have called for a meeting next week, a day before the zoning committee will meet again. Aren't you afraid that the PDP governors may, in one way or the other, be trying to influence the outcome of the zoning committee meeting?
That is politics. It is normal. It is expected. They are our leaders. And politics is about intrigues. It's about trying to outsmart each other. There is nothing wrong if the North are now saying, yes, we want to be president, let's zone the chairmanship to the South. And there is nothing wrong if the South are now saying, yes, we want to be president, let's give the chairmanship to the North. It's all politics. I'm not afraid, I'm not apprehensive. Let the governors come, let them talk, let them dialogue among themselves. They are reasonable enough to know what is good for PDP and what formula will be propounded for us to win election in 2023. So there's no apprehension, there's no fear about it. They are our leaders. Let them meet, let them take a decision that will be binding on all of us.
All right, very interesting. Just very quickly before we go on a break, are you among those who subscribe to, the governors bringing one of them to take over that position of chairmanship?
One of them in this case, you mean
because
a former governor?
we've had a former governor. Because, like, for example, a lot of people are saying that Oyinlola should be the first among equals among former governors because he has a charisma. He's been the secretary of the party before and all of that.
I think for me, the names I've heard that wants to contest the position of the chairmanship, everybody I've heard, they are eminently qualified. So I'm not, I won't say this person over this, but I believe that everybody.
But a lot of party experience is needed, considering that people have said that the PDP has made a mess of the opposition that is supposed to actually play against the All Progressives Congress.
No, I don't accept that the PDP has made a mess of the opposition.
Well, that's what people have been alleging. But I'm sure when we come back from this break, we'll continue on that because it's a very strong issue that has been debated within the polity. It's time for us to go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. All right, I still have with me here Diron Odeyemi, who is the Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, and Emmanuel Ume, who's a political strategist and good governance advocate. I will just come to you to conclude that point you were trying to make before I come back to Odeyemi. The issue of PDP preparing itself as an opposition party that could tackle the APC in the face of accusations by many Nigerians that it hasn't played that role effectively. Do you think that if the PDP is able to manage its internal issues, it can be able to challenge the APC very well?
You know, on the issue of whether the PDP has played the role of opposition very well, I believe the PDP has done its very, very best. In the last 6 years, I can count that the PDP has gone on mass protest more than 3 or 4 times. In the last 6 years, the PDP on every issue, if you check, I don't think there's any day that the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Mr. Kola Lobodinyo, doesn't issue either press conference or press statement.
And are those things enough? Because a lot of people say that those are not enough. That's why people are defecting.
I'm coming. There's no day that on national issues that they do not speak on, that concerns the nation. PDP members, whether state or national level, go on different platforms speaking about the misgovernance of this current administration. The issue of whether PDP is playing the opposition, I think there's this fixation of how people want PDP to, run his opposition. We're not going to destroy this country because we want to play opposition. We remember just in 2014 or 2015 when the APC wrote down to the United States government, I am telling them not to even not to make Boko Haram, not to name Boko Haram a terrorist organization. This same party wrote to different organizations. I remember when we wanted to go and get black weapons from the black market. You remember in South Africa what the role that they played on every issue, especially present governors in APC, the kind of roles that they played. We won't do that because we want to play opposition. We believe, we understand this country, and I've said it before, the PDP as a political party is a democratic institutionalized party. So we won't go through that route of always wanting to, cause brain and hand just to destroy this nation because we want to play opposition.
So I'll come back to you, Mr. Diron. This is an opportunity for PDP to actually show to Nigerians that it can manage its internal crisis and present an acceptable national chairman to all party members and then give the APC a good fight for its money. You can see the gladiators from the APC who are also contending for the position of national chairmanship. Do you think that the PDP is strong enough to present a formidable front ahead of 2023?
One good thing about PDP is that it is not owned by an individual. And that is why our motto remains power to the people. We are all equal in PDP, irrespective of the position anybody may be holding. And I'm saying this with all emphasis and without fear of favor, that in PDP, there is equal opportunity, and that is what is making the party to remain solid and great. We have our internal mechanism of resolving issues. When Secondus and River State Governor matter came up, people thought that was going to be the end of PDP. But you can see how the party has remained solid, how the party has, continued with its activities without anybody feeling bad. So whatever is the situation, I just want you to know that we have this mechanism in PDP that works well for the sustenance of peace and tranquility among the party members. And that is why whatever anybody might want to call a crisis, it's not. We still see it as a family affair, and we still resolve it among ourselves. So very soon, the party is going to produce a national chairman that we usher in our presidential candidates and ensure that 2023 we not only win election, we come back into government.
Interesting submission indeed. But considering that the Southern Governors Forum are insisting that the presidential ticket of the two biggest political parties should go to the South, that the next president must emerge from the southern part of the country, if the South gets the chairmanship in your party, the PDP, wouldn't it be going against the projections of the Southern Governors Forum? Because automatically the North wouldn't want to be left behind. They would want to have the presidential ticket going to them if the South has the PDP national chairmanship. Don't you think that projection will affect the Southern Governors Forum projections too?
The Southern governors have every right to come together and put out an idea. But for the mere fact that they all belong to different political parties does not make peace sacrosanct. Of course, they are Southern governors, but they come from different political parties. What operates in APC is not binding on PDP, and what is binding on PDP will not operate well in APC. So they have the right to say whatever it is they want for themselves or for the country. But we as a political party, we have our own method of doing things. We have our own constitution. We have our own rotational method. We have our own projection too. So then the government forum is not they don't have the final say or the authority on the political party. It is the party that produced these governors. So they cannot, they can say, they can suggest, but their decision is not binding on the political party. That's the difference. So they can project, they can say it, well, good enough.
Very interesting indeed. We must thank you, Mr. Diron Odeyemi, Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, for joining us, and Emmanuel Ume. Thank you so much for joining us to actually take a look at this analysis on the PDP.
Thank you.